The humanitarian crisis in Yemen is worsening as international and UN funding for aid continues to decline. This report has more.
The humanitarian crisis in Yemen is becoming more complex following a decline in UN and international funding for the relief sector, and aid organizations warning that this year will be the most difficult for the population after more than a decade of war. Meanwhile, experts predict an imminent famine, given the overall conditions in the country. The humanitarian situation in Yemen is becoming increasingly complex amid the internal uncertainty and the failure to reach an agreement to end the war, despite the truce declared by the United Nations more than 3 years ago. This truce has not contributed to any improvement in living standards. Meanwhile, the Red Sea crisis and military confrontations between the Houthis, the West, and Israel have exacerbated the deterioration of the local economy. UN agencies operating in Yemen are facing significant difficulties processing cash payments to their partners nationwide after a decline in funding and relief aid due to US sanctions imposed on some local banks and the crisis plaguing the Houthi-controlled banking sector, according to a statement by the World Food Programme at the end of last month. The program announced the suspension of its support for the treatment of moderate malnutrition cases starting at the end of this month in areas under Houthi control. Over the past few weeks, warnings have been issued of the deteriorating humanitarian situation in Yemen. Before the World Food Programme announced it would halt support for malnutrition treatment, the United Nations announced in mid-May a significant reduction in its humanitarian aid to Yemen and Somalia for the current year due to drastic funding cuts, warning that millions of lives were at risk.